Hello there, you're welcome back to Biology Lectures with Akerele Olademeji Philip. So today we'll move on to the female reproductive system, or better said, the human female reproductive system, still on the series Human Reproduction. Okay, I will go back to that picture shortly to show you some few things really. The human female reproductive system contains these parts: oviducts, otherwise called fallopian tube, ovaries, uterus, otherwise called womb. The reason why uterus is more acceptable is because womb is just more like an English word, but uterus is more like a medical biological word. That word makes more registered meaning for what it is than cervix and vagina. So as a quick overview, this is the fallopian tube, otherwise called oviduct. This is the ovary. This is the uterus. This vagina, sorry, the cervix is somewhere there. And I think I don't want to use this again. I think I do have a diagram really. Yes, sorry, this is better. This is much better. So this is the female reproductive system. Now, what are the things you should know? The vagina, the cervix, the uterus, the ovary, and the fallopian tube. It's very important to know that. These are the same thing you're seeing here. But there's something I want you to know, which is the endometrium, which is the lining of the uterus. I mean, this is the uterus, this whole part, but this lining, like that lines up the uterus, you would need that understanding when we get to menstrual cycle, so to say. But really, these are the things you need to know at the moment for this. So those 5 structures are very essential in you passing your exams as far as case study is concerned. All right, then what other thing? We're going to be seeing the functions shortly, so please don't forget, you won't be asked to draw this, but you would be asked to label it. I mean, it's very, very important to remember this. And I used to tell my students VCU. It's always like vagina, cervix, uterus, in that order most times. All right. In fact, I'll be asked what's the journey of sperm cell. So it's going to move from the vagina to the cervix to the uterus in that order. So what's the function of the ovaries? The 2 ovaries, one of them we call ovary, produces what? Millions. Well, not millions, sorry. Well, it was million when the female was in the mother's uterus, like in pregnancy. But by the time you give birth to a baby, it has to reduce really, and that is the female gamete, which is the egg cell. But they are underdeveloped, means that they're not capable of reproduction yet. Right? They're not. Now, these eggs, otherwise called ova in plural, is produced, has been born, so it has been with the woman or with the girl. Let me rephrase that, sorry for that. When you give birth to a baby girl, all the eggs she needs is in her body already. I mean, all the eggs, they are not developed actually, but they are all there. I mean, as small as a baby girl is, like a newborn baby girl is. But for male, the sperm cells are produced continually at puberty. That means a small boy doesn't have, in fact, the testes are not even in the scrotum yet. They are still in the abdominal cavity. But at a particular time, it descends, and at puberty, the testes are making sperm cells. So the difference is that females are born with all the eggs they needed, whereas males start making theirs at puberty, and they make it continuously, like they make it nearly continuously. All right. So function of the ovary is to make gametes, female gamete, which is called ova, plural, or eggs that way. Then the fallopian tube, otherwise called oviduct. Each is connected to the uterus by an oviduct. This is sometimes called the fallopian tube or egg tube. The oviduct is lined with cilia, which are tiny hairs on cells. I'm going to explain each of this to you. Every month an egg develops, that's at puberty, please, becomes mature and is released from the ovary, from one of the ovaries, whether the right one or the left one. The cilia waft the egg along inside the oviduct into the uterus. Let me show you what this means. Now, this is what we're trying to say. That there's a lot of information to be taken in here. So this is the ovary, of course. So at puberty, either of these ovary A or ovary B will release an egg from its follicle. The structure within the ovary are called follicle. So every month, one of that will release an egg by a process called ovulation. I will still get to that in detail when we get to menstrual cycle. Now, the point is, sometimes the two ovaries can actually release an egg each. It's possible. But the point here is, when it releases it, this thing that looks like a finger is it's called fimbriae. It moves like that and sucks this egg into this place. And along these are cilia that will keep moving the egg like that towards this place, the uterus. But if the woman or the lady has coitus during that period, the sperm cell goes in and will have fertilized the egg around there, because you can be asked, at what part or on what part of the female reproductive system is the egg fertilized? In the fallopian tube. There's a particular name for it anyways. This place actually called ampulla, but you won't be asked that sincerely. But just fallopian tube or oviduct, that's where fertilization takes place. So when it has been fertilized here, then the cilia will take the fertilized egg and bring it here to get attached so that pregnancy can occur. All right. So basically speaking, don't forget this: the fertilization takes place within the fallopian tube. That is if sperm cell is made available, please. All right. And don't forget, the release of egg from the ovary is called ovulation. You might want to pause the video to watch that again. So the next thing is cervix, uterus and cervix. The uterus, also called the womb, is a muscular bag with a soft lining. The uterus is where the baby develops until its birth. So basically, when it has been fertilized, the egg has been fertilized, it goes to the fallopian tube, like I told you, get attached to the wall of the uterus, and it grows there for about 9 months. All right. Now, the cervix is a ring of muscle that at the end of the uterus, it keeps the baby in place until it is needed to come out during until its birth. So all through the pregnancy periods, it keeps it there. Let me show you what I'm trying to say. So this is the cervix here. Let me get that off. This is the cervix, this one. So when the baby is growing up here, the embryo is growing up here and all of that, this cervix tightens, for real, tightens, so that the baby doesn't come down. So it tightens. As a matter of fact, when a woman wants to give birth, seriously, what the physician is looking out for, that is, as the cervix dilated, as it open up. In fact, it must open up to a particular centimeter before the baby can be able to come out successfully, about 10 centimeters or thereabouts. So that's to tell you how tightened the cervix is and how it holds the baby in place. So that's one of the functions of the cervix. It also plays some role too during child delivery. The cervix is okay, I already explained that already. So don't forget this function. Uterus is where the baby grows, and cervix helps to keep the baby in place. How? By contracting and tightens the lower end of the uterus. Then the last one, the vagina. which is a muscular tube that leads from the cervix to the outside of the woman's body. The man's penis goes into the cervix during sexual intercourse, otherwise called coitus. So that is the function of the vagina. It's passage for sperm cells to go in. It's also a passage for the baby to come through during delivery. And well, of course, that's passage also for menstrual blood flow or period blood flow to come out during menstruation. We're going to get to that shortly. So quickly, I want you to fasten your seatbelt. Let's do this on the structure of the female reproductive system. Okay, I think you should pause the video like I usually tell you. I think the ones you should do are 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. That's the one you should know. So I bet you've paused the video. Now the answer to A is the vagina. The answer to B is the cervix. The answer to C is the uterus. And the answer to D is the ovary. And the answer to G is fallopian tube or oviduct. Any of those two is correct. Or if you say egg tube, well, that is also acceptable, so to say. All right. So that will be all for now. The next video will be looking at the menstrual cycle, I suppose. Yes. Now, bear in mind that I just give this a quick quiz. You should. I have made a video already on the functions of these parts. Yes, because you need to also know the functions. It's not enough to just identify it. Remember, the function is very, very important. Now, let me give you a bonus question here. This one, where I put the arrow. At the beginning of the lecture, I made mention of something. You can remember this. It has a name. Or I will give it 2 names. So, okay, the name actually is endometrium. Yeah, I said at the beginning. Or you can say the lining of the uterus. Yeah, the lining of the uterus. All right. Sorry, I had to say that again. See you in the next class. Bye-bye.